Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of PRAKTEK Listening. I haven't done this for a while and a lot of you guys have requested it again, so I think this is episode 4. In this episode, I want to talk about learning 2 languages at once. So I get a lot of questions coming to me on my Instagram DM, on my online course, in my email, on YouTube comments, and how do you manage to learn multiple languages at once? Let's say 2 languages at once. So the answer is a little bit complicated than that. So it all depends on the languages that you're learning. If you want to learn 2 languages at once, make sure that those languages don't come from the same language family. For instance, English is a Germanic language, and French or Spanish, they come from Romantic language or Latin language. I think they're interchangeable. So if you learn those 2 languages together, it's better than if you learn 2 Germanic languages. So if you learn, let's say, German and Dutch. German and Dutch are both Germanic languages. So if you learn German and Dutch together, that would tend to be a bit more confusing. Itu bakal ketukar-tukar. You're bound to mix up the 2 languages. So some of you guys have shared that you would want to learn 1 English and 1 Korean. Is that a good idea? I would say it is. Like if you really want to learn, if you feel ambitious and you want to learn 2 languages, it's a good choice, English and Korean. Because they are 2 completely different languages, so it's less likely for you to mix the 2 up. So for me now, I'm actually not following my own advice because I'm personally somebody who gets bored a little bit. So at the moment, I'm learning Portuguese because I'm actually in Portugal. That's why the different background. Right now I'm learning Portuguese, but at the same time I'm also maintaining my Spanish. Of course, my Spanish is at a level where I can communicate with natives fluently, but I'm still learning. So learning Portuguese and Spanish at the same time, that's actually not a good idea. And coming from personal experience, I actually mix up the 2 a lot. Yeah, because the Spanish and Portuguese are very similar. A lot of the grammar structure is very similar. A lot of vocabulary, there's a lot of common vocabulary. So sometimes when I speak in Portuguese, Spanish comes out, or when I try to speak Spanish, some Portuguese words come up, and that would kind of mess with your brain, So don't do what I do. Ideally, it's a lot better if you learn 1 language at once, because then you can be hyper focused on this 1 language and make faster progress. But if you're like me, if you get bored a little bit and you just want to challenge yourself, 2 languages is completely fine. Just make sure that those 2 languages are completely different. And how do you manage the time learning 2 languages? For me, the advice that I usually give to my students is to prioritize. So between, let's say, English and Korean, let's say you're learning these 2 languages at once, which one is more important? Which one aligns more to your future goals? So let's say you want to apply for a scholarship to Korea, but you think that English is the language of the world. Everybody speaks English. I would say if your main goal, if it's very important to you to get this scholarship to Korea, just focus in Korean. So I would say dedicate 70% of your time learning Korean, the grammar, watch a lot of Korean dramas, vocabulary, the alphabet and all that. And then the other 20%, you can learn English in a bit more of a fun way. So you wouldn't have to learn English as intensively as you are learning Korean, but just keep it in the back, So jadiin sambilan aja. That's how it is in Indonesian. So right now I'm learning Portuguese, which is my main language of choice at the moment, but I'm also still learning Dutch. I'm practicing my Dutch, spoken Dutch with some of my Dutch partners, my Dutch language partners. Also, I'm trying to maintain my Spanish as well, because right now I am learning Portuguese. My Spanish would tend to fall in the background, so I would tend to forget a lot of Spanish words. So even though I'm not actively learning Spanish right now by speaking with Spanish speakers, I would still try to maintain my Spanish by watching a lot of Spanish language movies, TV shows, or videos. That way my level of Spanish is maintained. So right now I am focused on learning Portuguese. So this is Portuguese is high in my priority list. Whereas Spanish, it's not very important now, so it's kind of like here, But then, in order for me to maintain Spanish so that I don't forget a lot of words, I would learn it passively. So The way I would learn passively is to watch a lot of videos in Spanish. At the very least, I will still train my Spanish, so I'm still used to the sounds of it, supaya nggak kaget like that. So let's say this is my priority in Portuguese and this is my priority in Spanish. So if let's say comes a time where I want to travel to Mexico or to Spain and then I will use my Spanish again, sure, maybe my Spanish level would be a little bit lower because I haven't been practicing it for a while. But then once I want to get into it, because I'm going to travel to Spain or whatever, it will be easier to pick it up again and get to the level where I was at. And in order to maintain it, again, practice it passively by reading or listening. So that's what I do to maintain multiple languages at once without really losing control of it. Okay, so yeah, I hope this video is helpful and I hope you guys could get something out of it, and I will see you next week in another episode, and until then, have a good day. Bye bye.